Hawaii Five-0 is an American police procedural drama television series and a remake of the original 1968 80 television series. The series is produced by KO Paper Products and 100 First Street Television in association with CBS Productions, originally an in-name-only unit of but folded into CBS Television Studios, which produced the series since the beginning of Season 3. The title of the new show uses a zero instead of the letter O in the original title. Hawaii Five-0 debuted on CBS, the same network that aired the original version. Like the original version, it follows an elite state police unit task force set up to fight crime in the state of Hawaii. It premiered on Monday, September 20, 2010, 42 years to the day from the premiere of the original show. On October 21, 2010, CBS announced Hawaii Five-0 had been given a full season order of 24 episodes. On March 13, 2014, CBS renewed the series for a fifth season. Cast and characters. Main cast: Alex O'Lin as Lieutenant Commander Stephen J. Steve McGarrett, USNR, a former Navy SEAL with time spent in Office of Naval Intelligence. He is named after his grandfather, a USS Arizona casualty. McGarrett's father John is murdered in the pilot episode, and this forms the basis for the series' first story arc. Steve McGarrett is both physically and intellectually capable, being able to speak Hawaiian and Chinese fluently while also being able to engage a person in hand-to-hand combat as well as using fieldcraft when needed. McGarrett utilizes close-quarters combat as his primary means of taking down suspects, something he was taught during SEAL training. He is an experienced Navy SEAL, as the governor once outlined his resume: Annapolis, 5 years naval intelligence, 6 years with the SEALs. Your superiors say that you are the best they have ever seen. McGarrett utilizes the same weapons he used as a SEAL, including a SIG P-226R as his sidearm as well as MP-5K submachine guns and HK-416 rifles. Scott Kahn is Detective Sergeant Daniel "Danny" Williams, a Honolulu Police Department detective, who transferred from the Newark Police Department when his ex-wife, Rachel, moved to Hawaii with their daughter Grace. Williams' by-the-book style contrasts with McGarrett's more impulsive the ends justify the means approach, and is a source of friction between the two. Regarded as a hail for wearing a tie on the island during the first season, Williams is a loyal cop who is married to his job first and life second. As a consequence, he is often at odds with his ex-wife Rachel for sometimes not being on time. He is a loyal cop and friend, once refusing to believe that his former police partner was corrupt even when pitted against overwhelming evidence after the partner was found dead. His pistol is an H&K P-30, although he carried a P-226 in the pilot. He barely avoided being murdered during a botched drug sting on September 11, 2001, escaping only after the criminals ran off at the sound of sirens thinking the police were coming for them, when in fact they were headed to Manhattan to assist with 9/11. Daniel Dai Kim as Detective Lieutenant Chin Ho Kelly, a former member of the HPD and proto-copyright GAR copyright of McGarrett's father, who left the force after being falsely accused of corruption. It is later revealed that his uncle, a retired cop, took the money to pay for medical bills for his aunt. Despite insistence that he come clean, Kelly is willing to take the blame to prevent his uncle from going to jail. He is eventually cleared of the corruption charges and reinstated to the HPD as a lieutenant, but returns to the task force. Kelly and McGarrett attended the same high school, with Kelly likely having been a senior when McGarrett was a freshman, based on comments made in several different episodes. Kelly was a standout quarterback on the football team, but McGarrett broke all of his records the following year, when Kelly was training for his HPD career under McGarrett's father. The younger McGarrett was sent off to join the Navy after that football season ended. In a Oihana Loka Makauia Chin's father Cam Tong Kelly was murdered 15 years ago by Malia's brother, Gabriel Wynecroft, who was part of a Mexican drug cartel business. Grace Park as Officer Kono Kalakaua, a recent HPD Academy graduate and former professional surfer, who is also Chin Ho Kelly's cousin. She is detained and questioned by the HPD, having been accused of stealing $10 million from an HPD asset forfeiture locker. While on suspension, she helps Kelly and Williams go after Ofat, who was responsible for framing Steve McGurrett for the murder of the governor. To the members of the Five-0 task force and to the general public, Kalakaua had been stripped of her badge by the Internal Affairs Department of the HPD, but it was later revealed to be a ploy for her to go undercover to bust a string of dirty ex-cops. She later began a relationship with Hiro Noshimura's son, Adam. When Adam's brother, Michael, is released from prison, he kills someone with Kono's gun to frame her. She is cleared, but Adam has to kill Michael to protect her and Kono goes into hiding with Adam. Marcio Carl is Dr. Max Bergman, an American-born chief medical examiner. He also plays the piano and is a science fiction fan. In the Season 2 episode High Leal, it is revealed that his biological mother was murdered by the notorious Trash Man, a serial killer in Hawaii as of the 1980s. Lauren German as Special Agent Laurie Weston, a former Homeland Security profiler assigned by the new governor to keep an eye on Five-0 to make sure they are following the rules. Weston is forced to resign from Five-0 after an incident involving the Russian consulate in Honolulu. Michelle Borth as former Lieutenant Catherine Rollins, USN, a former intelligence officer who had done 3 tours in Kabul, an expert in hand-to-hand combat, and Steve McGurrett's on-and-off lover, who earlier in Season 1 to 2 and 3 has helped Steve and his team for intel on various cases. In Season 3, she started digging for information on Doris McGurrett based on Steve's request. In Season 4, she was hired by her ex-boyfriend, Billy, after she retired to assist him in his private security firm. In the Season 4 episode, Kipia U, she and Billy were shot while on a stakeout. Even though she survived her injuries, Billy succumbed to his injuries, leaving Catherine devastated. She became a member of Five-0, after the events of Season 4 Episode 7, in which she discovered intel on the whereabouts of Adam Noshimura and his supposed captor named Sato. In the Season 4 finale, Steve says that her mission to rescue Najib, a member of a family in Afghanistan who saved her life years ago, will prevent her from returning to Hawaii. Chi McBride as former HPD SWAT Captain Lou Grover, who has a love-hate relationship with McGurrett after being held up at gunpoint along with his SWAT team to free 3 prisoners in order to rescue Catherine in the Season 4 premiere. He is later forced to work with McGurrett on an assignment ordered by Governor Denning to serve a warrant for a computer hacker, where he and McGurrett become friends. He has a daughter who moved from Chicago to Hawaii with him to start a new life. His past is revealed in Paola, where he blames himself for having failed to save a boy who was taken hostage by his father, which ultimately results in a murder-suicide. In the Season 4 finale, Grover's actions to rescue his daughter results in forced early retirement from HPD, but also allows McGurrett to recruit him to be part of the 5-0 team, which he accepts. Recurring cast: Taylor Wiley as Kane Kuna, proprietor of Waiala Shave Ice, Kane Kuna's shrimp truck and helicopter tours. He is a confidential informant. Mark Dacascos as Ofat, a crime lord and mastermind with ties to the Yakuza, arms merchants, terrorists, even high-ranking government officials, and possibly behind the murders of both of McGurrett's parents. He is also responsible for setting up Steve McGurrett for the assassination of Governor Pat Jameson, and ordering Victor Hess to kill McGurrett to prevent him from investigating further, before murdering Hess himself. He is later arrested by McGurrett in Waihopu, and is eventually transported to a federal prison in Colorado. He escapes in the Season 4 finale and returns to Hawaii. James Masters as Victor Hess, the murderer of McGurrett's father, and an associate of Ofat. He is killed by Ofat in Halawa Correctional Facility, but not before assisting Steve McGurrett and his team. Will-Yun Lee as Sang-min, a snakehead busted by Five-0, and later used by the team as a source of criminal intelligence. He later escapes from prison. Taylor Grubbs as Grace Williams, Danny's daughter. She is named after Danny's former partner, who was murdered during a botched drug bust in New York City on September 11, 2001. Dennis Chun as Sergeant Duke Lukla, HPD officer. His father, Kam Fong Chun, played Chin Ho Kelly on the original Hawaii Five-0. Claire Van Der Boom as Rachel Edwards, Danny's ex-wife. Mark Declan as Stan Edwards, Grace's stepfather and Rachel's second husband. Taryn Manning as Mary Ann Margaret, Steve's ne'er-do-well sister. Terry Owen as Lieutenant Commander Joe White, USN, Steve Margaret's mentor and Navy SEAL instructor. He comes to Hawaii at the request of Danny Williams to help clear Steve's name after he is framed by OFAT for the murder of Governor Pat Jameson. He is discharged from the Navy with full pension after rescuing Steve in an illegal operation, and has secrets of his own. Larissa Oleynik is ex-CIA analyst Jenna Kay, assistant to Five-0. She is later revealed to have an association with OFAT. At the end of an episode, she is seen driving OFAT away after he murdered Victor Hess. She leaves to follow up on a lead that her fiancé copyright, Josh, whom she claimed had been killed by OFAT, might in fact be alive, and asks Steve to go with her to North Korea to get him. It turns out to be a trap for Margaret, from OFAT telling Jenna he would release Josh if she brought him Margaret, explaining her association with him. Jenna later discovers that Josh had been dead the entire time and that it was also a trap for her. She is able to tell Margaret she is sorry for setting him up, and gives him a pin from Josh's leg to help him escape, moments before OFAT shoots and kills her. Ian Anthony Dale as Adam Noshimuri, Kono's boyfriend, who becomes head of a Hawaii Yakuza after OFAT murders his father. He has been trying to legitimize and clean up his organization. After killing his brother Michael to protect Kono, he and Kono leave Hawaii and go into hiding. He comes out of hiding after his brother's loyalists are no longer a threat. Daniel Henney is Michael Noshimuri, Adam's brother who was released from prison during Season 3, and appears apprehensive about any plans to remake the Yakuza. He attempted to frame Kono for a murder he committed. In the Season 3 finale he was killed by his brother Adam. Jean Smart as Governor Pat Jameson, who forms the Hawaii Five-0 task force and who is later revealed to be in league with OFAT. She is assassinated by OFAT at the end of the first season. He frames Margaret for Jameson's death. Kelly, who is Laura Hills, Governor Jameson's public safety liaison, killed by a car bomb at the end of first season. Richard T. Jones as Governor Sam Denning, who stepped up from Lieutenant Governor and replaced Governor Jameson following her assassination at the hands of OFAT. Tom Sizemore as Vince Ryer, a HPD Internal Affairs captain who ostensibly has Kono terminated from the unit, but really has her working a case for him. Kono is shot during Fryer's case, which leads to her being revealed as Fryer's undercover officer. Margaret quickly disapproves of Fryer and his tactics. He is later promoted to Chief of Detectives, but is killed in Season 2 finale by a female assassin. Reiko Aylesworth as Malia Winecroft, Chin-ho's wife. She marries Kelly in the episode Alahio Po'ol, but dies in Lo'ona Makuahine, the third season premiere episode, from injuries sustained after she was shot, leaving Chin devastated. She had a brother named Gabriel Winecroft who was responsible for the murder of Chin's father 15 years ago. Brian Yang as forensic scientist Charlie Fong, who often analyzes evidence for Five-0, and was a childhood friend of Kono's. Al Harrington as Mamo Kahike, owner of a surf rental stand at Waikiki Beach, and a longtime friend of the Margaret family. He played Det. Ben Kokua on the original Hawaii Five-0. Martin Starr as Adam Toast Charles, a computer expert who assisted Five-0 on a couple of cases. Christine Lahti as Doris Margaret, Steve's ex-CIA mother who was believed to have been dead, with whom Steve and Mary reunited. She often does not tell the full story when Steve asks questions, leading him to believe she is hiding something. Autumn Reeser as Dr. Gabrielle Gabiasano, Danny's ex-love interest, David Keith as Wade Gutches, company of SEAL Team 9 and friend of CMDR. White. Calla Alexander as Carl Wakar, leader of the Cap Gang Civic Pride Group. Melanie Griffith as Clara Williams, mother of Danny Williams. Production, history. The idea to bring Hawaii Five-0 back to television had been under consideration well before the 2010 version was announced. The first attempt was a one-hour pilot for a new series that was made in 1996 but never aired, although a few clips were found years later and are available online. Produced and written by Stephen J. Cannell, it was intended to star Gary Busey and Russell Wong as the new Five-0 team. Original cast member James MacArthur briefly returned as Dan Williams, this time as Governor of Hawaii, with cameos made by other former Five-0 regulars. Another attempt was made to turn the project into a film by Warner Brothers, but that also was scrapped. On August 12, 2008, CBS announced that it would bring Hawaii Five-0 back to the network's schedule for the 2009-2010 television season. The new version would be an updated present-day sequel, this time centering around Steve McGarrett, who succeeds his late father Steve as the head of the unit. Ed Bernrow, executive producer and showrunner of Criminal Minds, was to helm the new take, which he described as Hawaii Five-0, version 2.0. It was also to incorporate most of the iconic elements from the original, including the Bookham, Dano catchphrase, into the remake. Bernrow, who was a fan of the original, and had a ringtone of the series theme song on his cell phone, had always wanted to bring the series back to TV. This version did not go beyond the script stage. In October 2009, it was announced that Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orsi had signed on to script a pilot episode, and that Peter M. Lenkov would serve as the series' showrunner. Kurtzman and Orsi decided to reboot the original concept similar to their work on the 2009 Star Trek film, rather than a sequel to the original series. Production on the pilot was shot in and around Honolulu from February to April 2010. On May 17, 2010, the Hawaii Five-0 remake was picked up by CBS, which scheduled it for Monday nights in the 10:11 p.m. time slot. The news was good for the state of Hawaii, which hopes that the remake will pump new life into the economy. Production of the remainder of the first season started in June 2010. On June 24, 2010, the producers announced that it will use the warehouse at the former Honolulu Advertiser Building as the official soundstage studio for the series starting in July 2010. Exteriors representing Five-0 headquarters in the series are located at the Judiciary History Center of the Supreme Court building in Honolulu, directly across the street from Iolani Palace, which represented Five-0 headquarters in the original series. This revival series uses a zero as the last character in its title instead of the letter O that is used in the title of the original series. According to the Los Angeles Times, a CBS insider said that the disambiguation was necessary because of search engine results. When Variety conducted its own search engine test on Google, it found that Hawaii Five-0 had 263,000 results while Hawaii Five-0 had over 1.7 million. On August 18, 2011, CBS announced that Hawaii Five-0 would cross over with NCIS, Los Angeles by having Daniela Ruor guest star as Kenzie Bly from the latter series. The crossover aired on October 24, 2011, in episode 6 of season 2. A two-part crossover was aired on the April 30, 2012 episode of Hawaii Five-0 and the May 1, 2012 episode of NCIS, Los Angeles, with two characters from each show visiting the other. Online voting by viewers determined the ending of the January 14, 2013 episode cap, with two zones, Eastern and Central time zones, and Mountain and Pacific time zones, each getting their own result. Each alternative ending could be seen online after the episode aired. Casting: in February 2010, it was announced that Daniel Dai Kim had been cast to play Chin Ho Kelly, an ex-cop trained by Steve McGarrett's father. He was the first actor cast for the remake. Several days later, Alex Olilin was cast as Steve McGarrett, the son of ex-cop John McGarrett. The producers pay homage to the original series throughout the first year, by making one of Steve's hobbies restoring his father's 1974 Mercury Marquis, which is in fact the actual car driven by Jack Lord in the latter half of the original series run. Actress Grace Park was later cast as rookie detective Kona Kono Kalakaua, and Scott Kahn was cast as Danny Dano Williams. In the recurring cast are Gene Smart as Governor Pat Jameson and Marcy O'Carr as the medical examiner Max Bergman. O'Carr was upgraded to series regular for the second season. Of note, several recurring roles have been filled by surviving members of the original cast. Al Harrington, who played Det. Ben Kokua in the original series, now plays a friend of McGarrett's, Mamoka Hike. Dennis Chun, who had various guest roles in the original series and is the son of Kam Fong-chun, has a recurring role as HPD Sergeant Duke Lukla in the remake. James MacArthur, the last surviving main cast member from the original series, agreed to guest star in a first-season episode. However, he died on October 28, 2010, before filming his appearance. Larisa Oleynik was cast as Jessica Kay, scheduled to join the Five-0 task force in the show's 19th episode. Oleynik appeared on a recurring basis for the remainder of the 2010 Euro 11 season, with an option to become a regular in Season 2. However, her character was killed off in Season 2, Episode 10. It was also announced that Terry Owen would be joining the cast of the show in Season 2, along with Lauren German, who would play Laurie Weston, a former Homeland Security official assigned by the new governor to keep an eye on the team. For Season 3, Christine Lahti has been cast in a recurring role as Doris Margaret, the thought-to-be-deceased mother of Steve Margaret. Also, Michelle Borth, who plays Lieutenant Catherine Rollins, became a main cast member for Season 3. After appearing as a guest star in several Season 4 episodes, Jorge Garcia, who plays the character of Jerry Ortega, will be promoted to series regular commencing Season 5. Music: Hawaii Five-0 uses the original show theme song composed by Morton Stevens. Critics received an early copy of the pilot with a synthesizer and guitar-based version of the theme. After negative reaction to the reworked song spread quickly online, Kurtzman said he and others realized that changing the music was a mistake, and arranged for studio musicians, including 3 who had worked on the original from 1968, to re-record the theme exactly as it was, except shortened to 30 seconds from its original length of about 60 seconds. Original instrumental music is composed by Brian Tyler and Keith Power. Soundtrack: Libello, Hawaii Five-0. Original songs from the television series is a soundtrack album featuring music used in the CBS television series Hawaii Five-0. The first volume in the series received attention for how show producers integrated these new and previously unreleased tracks from major-name artists into the second season episodes. This method contrasted with the norm for TV soundtracks, which tend to be compilations of previously released music that is already available individually or on other albums. Hawaii Five-0, original songs from the television series, was released on October 4, 2011. Featured music, episodes. The series covers the actions of a small special state task force created by the governor of Hawaii, Governor Pat Jameson, to investigate serious crimes throughout the islands, as Hawaii does not have a conventional state police force. The team is headed by Lieutenant Commander Steve Margaret, USNR, as it investigates crimes ranging from terrorism to kidnapping. Margaret chooses as his partner Honolulu PD Detective Danny Dano Williams. He fills out the team by selecting Chin Ho Kelly, and Chin's cousin, a rookie HPD cop named Kono Kalakaua. The task force does not follow the normal chain of command and instead reports directly to the governor's office. One unexplained part of the story concerns the name Five-0. Taken from a shirt worn by the young Steve Margaret in a video that the team watches, Kono decides that Five-0 would be a good name for their task force. It is not explained how everyone seems to know what Five-0 is, despite it being an unofficial name coined in a private meeting, although the name appears to have been made official in later episodes. Five-0's headquarters are apparently located in Aliaʻalani Hale, site of a famous Kamehameha statue, which features prominently in the series. In real life, Aliaʻalani Hale serves as the central headquarters of the Hawaii State Judiciary and where the Supreme Court of Hawaii regularly convenes. Each episode typically begins with a crime being committed or a body being discovered, and assignment of the subsequent criminal investigation to the unit by either the governor herself or her representative. The task force uses the authority of the governor's office to gain access to crime scenes and investigations involving the Honolulu Police Department when they cross paths. To assist them in their investigations, the team is granted immunity from prosecution for actions committed in the line of duty, although this immunity is revoked by the lieutenant governor following the governor's assassination. A major character arc set up in the pilot episode revolves around the murder of Margaret's father, who was working on a corruption case even after retiring from the HPD. After the terrorist responsible for his father's murder is apprehended, a mysterious figure interrogates him about Steve's investigation into his father's old cases. This figure is later revealed to be Fat, a criminal with ties to the Japanese Yakuza, and is possibly connected to the suspected car bomb murder of Steve's mother. When his father investigated this as the head of the HPD Organized Crime Task Force, he began to dig too far into the corruption, forcing him to lay off the investigation. He nonetheless saved all his evidence in a toolbox, all of which was left to his son in the hope that he would someday conclude his father's work. Another character arc involves the reasons behind Chien-Ho's departure from the Honolulu Police Department after being accused of stealing cash from the HPD asset forfeiture locker. Margaret accepts Chien-Ho onto the task force, as he was his father's proto-copyright copyright. As the series progresses, it is revealed that a mole within HPD framed Chien-Ho for the theft, and that this mole was also possibly connected to Margaret Sr.'s old corruption probe. In the Season 1 finale, the Five-0 task force is disbanded after Margaret is arrested for Governor Jameson's murder. In the second season, the new governor, Sam Denning, reinstates the task force after Margaret is proven innocent. But the team no longer has absolute immunity and must follow the governor's rules. Governor Denning appoints Lori Weston from the Department of Homeland Security to the Five-0 task force in Episode 2 to monitor the team. She resigns after the task force is involved in a diplomatic incident at the Russian consulate. In Season 2, Marcio cars Dr. Max Bergman. Emmy works, more closely than usual, with Five-0 on a case involving a serial murderer who has begun killing again. Max's biological mother was a victim of the killer during his original killing spree. There was a cooling of relations between Rachel and Danny to the point, by the end of the season, where Danny was about to fight Rachel and her current husband Stan's plan to take Danny's daughter Grace with them on their move to the mainland. Kono was involved in an undercover assignment, for 5 episodes, where she appeared to have lost her badge, but was actually working undercover with HPD Internal Affairs Captain Vincent Fryer, who was investigating a group of former cops engaged in illegal activities. Chien-Ho and his former fiancée copyrightee reunite and marry, with the Five-0 task force and Kane Kuna as members of their wedding party. Margaret continues to try to learn more about the death of his father and the mysterious Shelburne. His former SEAL commander, Joe White, arrives in the islands and appears to be helping Margaret at times and getting in his way at others. Fat returns and is involved in a series of murders, including the leader of the Yakuza, Hiro Noshimiri, and is being hunted down by them. While Steve is in Japan, searching for Shelburne and Joe White, the Hawaii Five-0 team under Danny's control later form a temporary partnership with the NCIS, Los Angeles team to stop a possible smallpox outbreak which begins in the Hawaii Five-0 Season 2 episode, Pa Make Low, and later concludes in the NCIS, Los Angeles Season 3 episode, Touch of Death. At the end of the season, Joe takes Margaret to see Shelburne in Japan. Shelburne turns out to be his mother, who was presumed dead for 20 years, which leaves Steve stunned. Broadcasts. The series premiered in the US on CBS on September 20, 2010. Canada's Global TV and NTV premiered the show at the same time as the United States premiere. Hawaii Five-0 has been syndicated for broadcast in several countries worldwide, including Australia, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Greece, Norway, Italy, Japan, Spain, the Middle East, the Netherlands, Russia, Poland, South Africa, Serbia, and Belgium. Reception and impact. Critical reception. The show has received mostly positive reviews. Metacritic gave Season 1 of the show a score of 65 out of 100 aggregate score based on reviews from 22 critics. On May 19, 2010, the Honolulu Advertiser offered an opinion about the new version. A smart script, slick production values and maybe a splash of nostalgia got the remake of Hawaii Five-0 placed on the CBS primetime lineup this fall, but it will take more than Beefcake and a remix theme song to keep the show on the air. The piece also pointed out that times have changed since the original left the air, citing other shows that were set in Hawaii which have come and gone. It expressed a hope that the producers will succeed in bringing a new life to the title with this remake. the show also has a large, hugely devoted fanbase, often called a nuana. Hawaii Five-0 was also in the Guinness World Records 2012 for highest-rated new show in the U.S. with a record 19.34 million viewers for its January 23, 2011 episode. Ratings, awards and nominations. Series star Scott Caan was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor, Series, Miniseries or Television Film for his role as Danny on Hawaii Five-0. Hawaii Five-0 also won the Favorite New TV Drama at the 37th People's Choice Awards on January 5, 2011. The Five-0 Effect. Hawaii Five-0 made several positive effects on the state's economy since it began airing. Known as the Five-0 Effect by Hawaii News Now reporter Steve O'Hara, various Hawaii-based businesses saw an increase in sales after they were featured in episodes of the show. Visitor numbers to the USS Missouri Memorial Association, after being featured in some of the episodes, increased 25%, helping the site achieve a record year in 2010. Waiala Shave Ice, the business run by Kane Kuna on the show, saw a 20% increase in shave ice sales, along with a 30% rise in T-shirt sales. Kona Brewing Company also saw a 60% increase in sales after their beers were featured as Margaret's favorite alcoholic beverage in several episodes. In addition, residents from other states visit Hawaii based on viewing the series. Syndication. TNT has acquired the off-network rights to air the series. Episodes began airing on the cable channel in August 2013. References. External links. Official website, Hawaii Five-0 at the Internet Movie Database, Hawaii Five-0 at TV.com, theme song audio video on YouTube.